Because you wouldn't consider yourself a singer, would you?
No. I don't think Al would convince himself. There's always a give and take. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Fucking drink beer, drink spirit.
And nearly still play Championship Manager on your computer.
And we'd smoke a spliff.
It's been how many years, my boy?
Audiobooks, they're a bit shorter than
You
audiobooks.
still don't know my tears of joy. No need to go, just take it slow.
Podcast or something like that.
And have you heard the Michael Anthony show?
I remember when they headlined Glastonbury for the first time. I was in my house on my own in the dark.
Why didn't you turn
watching
the
it
lights
on
on?
TV. I might have had a lamp on.
The sinking sand of despair, the smell of dread in the air. I'm head to toe in my own fear. I'm going to die, no need to cry.
Andy Nicholson, aka Goldteeth. Is the Goldteeth name literally due to the fact of the gold teeth?
Yeah.
How do you even get them? How do you get them done?
I've got a dentist, but the dentist is my friend as well.
Okay.
So there's no special dentistry treatment, but if I wanted a gold tooth, I can just say, "Can I get a gold tooth?"
Is it nearly unethical as a dentist to put in a gold tooth over a normal?
He's never questioned it. He doesn't mind doing.
Do they have to wash them?
Well,
are they real teeth? What are gold teeth? Are they real?
Yeah. So I guess there's probably two types. There's like a cap, which would be like I could take out and throw on table. Do you know what I mean? And then you just slide it and it fits around your normal tooth.
Yeah.
But what I've got is, so I go to my dentist and he numbs my gum and he drills the tooth down to like a fine little nub, like when you get veneers.
Yeah.
And then they make a mold and send it off and get a gold tooth made and send it back and they like glue it.
So it's not a real tooth.
It's not a real tooth. No, it's all gold. It's real gold.
What's it like eating with it?
It's weird at first. It was weird at first, but I mean, I had the first one done probably about 6 years ago. You file down the original tooth to like a little nub.
That's not even a common practice. Who even has that done? Like proper Nellians, like US rappers.
Yeah, I guess.
Why the gold teeth?
I just wanted a gold tooth.
I
just wanted one. So I got that one done first. And I'm like, oh, kind of like this. So I went and got another one done. Then I wanted a bigger one, but I didn't want to commit to a full front gold tooth. So I got the window, which was the weirdest one because when you get it, when they file your tooth down, it takes about a week to make the gold tooth. So they give you like a little fake white tooth to just stick up. And then they like kind of glue it in with some like non-permanent glue.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, it just kind of pulls out. But with the front one, he said, there's nothing we can give you. So for a week, I was walking about with a really small front tooth, looking like a child's tooth.
What about when you're like 70 and you've gold teeth?
But do you know what else? Wherever I am in the world, I've got to fly home. That's one of the...
What do you mean?
I can just pull a tooth out, cash it in, and get a flight home. So if I'm
they're actually worth something, the gold teeth?
Yeah, it's real gold, yeah. And the first one was cheaper than the second one.
How much do they cost to get done, a gold
the price
tooth?
of gold went up. So the first one was $350, and the second one was $450.
£450?
Yeah, and then that one was $450.
Oh, you've 3 of them?
So I've got So I've got a flight home from wherever.
Appearance is something that you value. The tattoos, the chain, the gold teeth.
Yeah.
It's a certain look. It's I'm in music look.
Do you think? Because I never really thought about it. Do you know what? I just kind of get dressed and I realise I only wear plain black T-shirts.
Yeah.
I've only got plain black T-shirts and black trousers.
You're just keeping it simple, but the tattoos, the gold teeth, and the jewellery does the work.
Yeah.
And it does say that I'm skilled with instruments and I'm a producer. And it does, and you can back it up with your CV. It makes sense.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
Why do all you guys who commit to the music style, how come none of you ever go bald?
Bald?
if you think about lead singers, none of the
Yeah.
Gallaghers are bald.
No.
None of the Arctic Monkeys are bald. Yeah, Bowie, not bald. Beatles, we're not seeing baldness.
No.
How do they manage to keep their barnet when baldness is something that's so ripe in the accounting community?
It's rife.
It's
I
crazy.
don't know. My granddad was bald at 21 as well.
Have you ever even had a scare of being bald?
My hairline's amazing. It's not going anywhere.
Nowhere.
I recently just started growing my hair just because I can. I used to shave it. I had it like shaved number 2 or number 2 with a fade. I just thought my hairline's not going anywhere.
Do you have kids?
Pretend. Yeah. One. I've just had one.
Oh, really?
She was born in December.
Oh, congratulations.
Coming to her first birthday.
And you know the way people get protective over daughters when they get older and they fear what they're going to be up to and all.
Yeah.
When you have the tats and the gold teeth and the musical background and even the you've one under
Yeah, I've got
the eye tattoos, they're like nearly you'd associate them normally with kind of death row.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It nearly says I murdered someone.
I think my tattoos are like they are is because when I was growing up, I still am, but like a hip hop fan. So
Okay.
I never really wanted any coloured tattoos because if you get black and grey tattoos, like none of these were that wasn't thought about when I was getting that or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But they all kind of match up together.
Do you get tattoos daily or like what's the
I
story?
haven't got a tattoo for a while. Oh, I got that. I got my daughter's name on my throat.
Okay, yeah.
It sounds a bit.
Are the legs
yeah,
tattooed?
I've got like bottom of my feet, bottom of my legs, and my back, and my arms. A little one on my chest. Nothing too big.
So let's go into your story because obviously a lot of the listeners are absolutely fascinated with it. You're a born and bred Sheffield man. I've never been to Sheffield before, and we were in Manchester last night, and I actually have a huge problem. And that is, no, not with Sheffield, but with Northern England in general. And I think the homeless crisis is absolutely fucking disgraceful. And in Manchester, I walked by, there's only 600 or 700,000 people in Manchester. It's not a big city.
Yeah.
It's big in terms of its cultural impact, but in terms of numbers, it's not big.
Yeah.
There's people on the streets every single corner you turn.
Yeah, I feel like there's more in Manchester than there is in Sheffield. But obviously it's still.
But why in Manchester when you have factually, you have two teams that, in terms of population, you have two teams that have at least 30 players each who are making over 70, 80 grand a week. Yeah. Instead of having these fucking balls and trying to use it for your personal image so you can put it on Instagram, why don't they just say Christmas Day, walk into the City and United restaurant and go, right lads, 5 fucking grand each.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walk around Piccadilly and there's someone in a sleeping bag in every single Burger King, in
Yeah.
every single Greg's, McDonald's, KFC.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually saddened me. It's actually
Yeah,
dampened my mood a bit.
You know what? I feel like it's probably not really thought about that much.
Why?
I don't know. Why isn't it? Why not?
There's people sleeping
Why
in
is it
sleeping
not?
bags all over Manchester,
Yeah.
and there's multi-millionaires openly walking around the
Driving
place.
past them.
Driving past them.
I think you just kind of got to do your bit as
You don't think we just avoid responsibility? You got to do
I think
your
some
bit.
people do,
You only have to look
definitely.
after yourself.
Of course, people do. But I mean, I don't really, not like I give to charity. But if I'm somewhere and there's a homeless person, I've got some money, I'll give them a quid.
What do you make
or-
of people who say they're only going to spend it on drugs or gargle? I think bullshit.
Well, probably bullshit. But also, I'd rather he spend this £3 I'm giving him out of my hand than went and had to take something from somebody else, had to steal or do something else to get that money. Rather you weren't a drug addict,
Yeah.
but if you are, at least try and be safe with it. I would rather buy these people food. It's like if I give someone money, I try and say get something nice and warm, or if I'm going somewhere every now and then, if I see someone, I say, oh, do you want me to get you a sandwich, or I'll just get a sandwich and a drink and just give it them. Do you know what I mean?
What if they just want to get high? What if they're like, listen, I'm pretty sure there's no point to life and we're all floating on a globe. I was abused by my parents growing up, and I kind of just want to get high and die at 40. Can you give me some money for my smack? Yeah. If that's your ideology, there's a fiver.
That's what you want to do. You do what you want to do.
I hate the judgment of they're only going to spend it on gear. They're
Yeah.
already on the streets.
Yeah.
They're already in a sleeping bag. Who the
Yeah.
fuck are you? You'd
Yeah.
rather an iced coffee than their gear. I
Yeah, they're
wouldn't.
already waking up with some drunk knobhead pissing on them.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
What do you want him to do?
But yeah, no.
Good
So
question,
you spent your early years in Santa Barbara.
Good question, that. Maybe people should take more, I don't know if we can swear, push it home, that people should probably take a bit more fucking responsibility.
Yeah.
Not responsibility,
I think it's the
but
people's
also
fault.
help someone out.
The one thing that we can't, like, we can all walk around saying we can't do anything for cancer. Like, we can, but the government and all kind of keep these things private to maximise money for pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
We can't do things for kind of social inequality. If you're walking by people on the streets who are on literal sleeping bags,
Yeah.
who are freezing,
Yeah.
and there's only 200 of them in a city, and fucking Vincent Kompany or Paul Scholes wants to drive by them in a Bentley.
Yeah.
That's not really a world that makes any fucking sense to me.
No.
They organise these charity balls that they use the United City crest at going for the Manchester homeless, and they get in their pictures and they put them on the club website so everyone thinks, look at those fucking heroes. Instead, go to Alexis Sanchez. You didn't play last week and you made 450 grand. I'll tell you what, we're only giving you 2 of that and we're giving the other 2 to homeless. Now go fuck yourself back to Chile.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Manchester.
No, but Manchester is a town that has the 2 major clubs right now. United based off history, City based off current success.
Yeah.
The 2 biggest brands, in a way, in England right now, because there's people all over Japan.
Well, they could. Those 2 clubs could quite easily eliminate homeless.
Easily.
From Manchester.
In a second.
Yeah. In a week.
Yes. Done.
Probably.
There would be no homelessness in it. You would not have to walk down Piccadilly and see people lying in sleeping bags if United and City just literally took a week.
But we live in a world where people are like, it's not my problem. It's not for me to deal with.
But they were built off that city. Those 2 clubs became these global brands because there was people in the 1800s working hard in that city that actually, in a way, got them to that height. Just because they've been taken over by foreign owners doesn't mean they can actually shrug the responsibility any longer. The Manchester homeless crisis is actually uncomfortable to be around it. It's absolutely crazy. Walk down Piccadilly
from,
tomorrow.
Piccadilly, is it Piccadilly Gardens with the fountain and the bus station?
And the train
all
station.
around there, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
I don't understand why Sky Sports, so they'd rather punish Joey Barton for making a bet on his own game and say you're not allowed to gamble, even though at halftime of every single fucking game, Sky Bet comes up as an advertisement on the advertising boards on the pitch. Every single thing's a bet. You watch a Premier League game, things flash up. Next goal, 4-1.
Did they find a player who was wearing, what was it? Nicholas Bentner wearing
Paddy Power jocks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But aren't Paddy Power now sponsoring
Huddersfield? Yeah.
What is the difference?
None. It's all just
wait, no,
bollocks.
they've decided to not put their name on the shirt.
Which is even more of an advertisement
Which is
if
what
you
they're
think about
saying
it.
is we're going to give the shirt back to the
Bollocks.
fans.
Manipulation. Lying.
Yeah. Crazy.
But you lived in Santa Barbara briefly and then you moved back to Stockbridge, Sheffield.
So we moved to Santa Barbara when I was like 2. Moved back when I was like 4. But we lived on Norfolk Park in like this side of town.
You know the way the rest of the boys who you started the Arctic Monkeys with came from High Green?
Yeah.
Is that why they're blue and you're red?
Yeah.
You boys do care a lot about football.
Yeah.
I met Alex Turner once, real embarrassingly so. I was a 20-year-old kid, real overexcited by the notion of, the Arctic Monkeys are in the bar.
How long ago was that?
2013.
2013, okay.
And we were running around fucking on this visa, on this holiday in America, and Alex Turner was in the bar, and he was just obviously disinterested with some fat Irish moron coming up to him and ruining what should have been a chilled out Friday evening. So he just offered me one question, and he was like, when are you going home? And it meant like,
good impression.
What day are you leaving? And I go, Wednesday. That's the day I was leaving America. And he only had one opportunity to be poetic and display that he was a football fan, and he just goes to me, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? And I was like, although Sheffield Wednesday are quite an embarrassing club, that is pretty remarkable to slip that in a 20-second window.
Yeah.
Do you
He's
think
quick. He's quick.
Do you think there's a link, though? Because, like, if you look at it, you have Oasis and their love of Man City, Mick Jagger, Arsenal, Leicester, Kasabian. Do you know what I mean? Elton John.
Mick Jagger was Arsenal.
Elton John, Watford. But an actual love. Pete Doherty, QPR.
Yeah.
Do you think that football and music are just inherently linked? And by going to football matches young and seeing chanting, which is really the only adult form of human public music still left in society.
Yeah.
It's the only form that still like human beings who could be a banker, an accountant, a bin man, a fucking criminal, and you all sing together on a Saturday for the same thing.
Surely
it's the purest form of music left. Do you think that seeing that young influences people to get into indie rock and roll?
Wow. Good question. Kind of breed into each other, I guess. I feel it's like you're getting a lot of rappers that want to be basketballers and a lot of basketballers that want to be rappers. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like you probably get a lot of musicians that want to be footballers and a lot of footballers that want to be musicians. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
But do you think seeing that kind of choir aspect and the wit of putting... Because even the Arctic Monkeys' first album that you were involved in, wit and quick kind of observational skills
Yeah.
are key to the whole thing.
Yeah.
As are football chants.
Oh, yeah, of course. More so in football chants. I mean, they're amazing.
So let's put our social observation into song, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what a lot of these British bands of
It's what they did.
dating back to
Yeah.
even the 80s were doing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence that these musicians don't just like football, they absolutely adore football.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is
They're
crazy.
obsessed with it. Like-
I don't know any songwriters that aren't passionate about their football club.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Who isn't?
That's a good observation.
But
When did you think of that? No, that's amazing. I guess it probably does play a part. With a
in
like.
the experience, it kind of lets you know that
But also
it
it
opens you up to expression, because, like, at the end of the day, you're from Sheffield, you're from Manchester, you're from these northern cities that produce so much expressive music, but being expressive isn't necessarily encouraged. Like, if you were to do
No.
the school play in school,
Yeah.
you would have been called a bellend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But you're
yeah,
allowed to
yeah.
pick up a guitar and you're
Yeah.
cool, even though it's the same thing. We're just
But-
expressing ourselves.
But I think to sing out loud in front of people is a daunting situation. But when there's 30,000 people doing it and you're part of it,
Yeah.
you get that feeling. It's like, oh, maybe I'll sing it on my own. My backing vocals, we used to say, were like a football chant. So
Okay.
it's amazing that you have actually just said that, 'cause you just reminded me that it was kind of like a... They were the more of the backing vocals that we used to do.
Because you wouldn't consider yourself a singer, would you?
No. I don't think Al would convince himself.
That he's
Well,
even a singer.
Yeah, I don't think. Maybe would now, but for a long time I don't think he did.
And in a way, because he might not be a natural singer, is there an element of putting on accents that suit certain themes, that
Yeah,
suit certain
probably.
songs,
Yeah.
that mask the fact that, listen, I'm not fucking Elvis.
Yeah.
But this
I'm
still
gonna act
sounds
like
good.
him.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
was that all natural, or like, as a mate, as somebody who grew up with the boys, when you're watching him like adopt an American character for the Suck It and See album or AM,
Yeah.
are you going, great marketing? Or are you going, oh, hold on, this guy actually thinks he's Elvis?
No, I
Opera.
never once thought he was Elvis. I don't think he thinks he's Elvis. I don't think it's an act. I think he sometimes probably can live up to the character people are expecting him to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has lived in America. He lived in New York for a long time, and he lived in LA for a long time. So he's but I mean, everyone. So did other people, and they're not coming back sounding like Elvis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so I think he's.
But was it a bit for
he
show,
soaks
or
up,
was
but
it genuine?
He soaks accents up a lot, 'cause when he started hanging around with Miles quite a lot, he started to get a bit of a Scouse twinge to his accent.
Oh, really?
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then he got to New York, and
So what was the story with you boys starting out? Like, did you proper know the boys when you were 13?
yeah. Well, I started, like I said, we lived on this side of town, so like let's say the red side of town. We lived like not far from here, and we moved to the other side of Sheffield, to Stocksbridge, which was like a blue side of town.
Owls
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, well, there's hills everywhere. Around
Everyone
here,
was up at night.
Yeah.
Nocturnal fuckers.
So I started that school, but so you start secondary school in year 7, but I'd already done a year in this side, so I was leaving all my friends and moving to that side. So year 8, I started there, and the first person I spoke to was Al. Walked into my class, Al was there, Helders was there, and that was it. We just kind of hit it off with
So what age are you here?
12, 13.
And Helders and Alex Turner are there.
Yeah, they used to live. Their parents live on roads that are just opposite each
Yeah,
other,
yeah, yeah.
and they went to primary school together.
What kind of dudes were you all? Were you the funny guys? Were you sporty guys who
Probably
weren't?
funny, sporty. Most of the time, we'd play basketball at dinner, or like football or something like that. And then on his weekends, we'd probably be on his skateboards or BMXing.
You love sports, but you were the guys who were never really athletically good enough to play it properly. So,
No, we used to play. We all three of us were in the school basketball team.
but was there any football? I mean, basketball in the UK. I'm not
no,
counting
no,
that. You may as well tell me you're playing chess.
Well, do you know what? I played football. They didn't play football. Apparently, they played football before I met them, but
yeah.
they didn't play football.
What
then.
stage did you boys decide? Was it like a joint that made you boys go, it's music, or what was it? How does that shift
I
happen?
wish it would have been.
Did you just start listening to, like a bit of fucking R. Kelly and shit?
We used to listen to UK rap, so we used to listen to Roots Maneuver. We still do listen to Roots Maneuver, a big influence. Roots Maneuver, There was a guy from Leeds called Brain Tax, this white ginger kid who was amazing.
But like, who had the brother? Who was the guy in the three? Were you three were best
Al's
mates?
dad was a music teacher. That was the start of it. So what would happen is we'd be out on his BMXs, and then maybe one time we'd go to Al's and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm messing on this program my dad's got, and I'm programming a drum beat." So then we started making some like hip hop type of stuff, and Elders had some decks so he could scratch a bit, and then we all just kind of used to do a bit of production and things like that. Nothing ever came of it, obviously. And then
Did you kind of see by Al, because he is definitely, and I know it's because you're his close mate, you really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I know you probably, when people are talking about you, going, "Here, man, yeah, it's just a bit of fucking music," but you can understand to the masses where they're kind of going, "Yeah, we've kind of heard the music and it's influenced society, so I can get why you don't care."
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the greatest songwriters of the last fucking 30 years, 40 years.
he's really weird. No, I don't disagree at all. I definitely don't disagree, but it's weird because it's never been Alex Turner to me.
Yeah.
It's just Al. So it'd be like Al and Elders and me. Do you know what I mean? We'd all right, his mum's cooking tea, we're gonna go around there and have tea there, and then we're gonna go down there, and do you know what I mean? We'll all get a bottle of cider on a Friday night and we'll share a spliff each. Do you know?
But did you know when he was even making up the stuff back then on his dad's decks or whatever, that he's pretty creative? Like, was he particularly
Not really,
creative?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's creative. I mean, but only as creative as the rest of us were. He was just lucky enough to have a computer in his house, and lucky enough that his dad was a music teacher, so there was instruments about.
But as a lyricist, was there any sign of, okay, this is crazy shit? He's really capturing what we're thinking here.
No, not at first. I mean, probably not until we started writing our own songs. But there was a gap between, so we'd be doing the production stuff. We'd be making hip hop beats in his mum's and dad's.
Taking the piss, basically.
Yeah, really, yeah. But his dad was, like I say, his dad's a music teacher, so he had instruments about the house. So we'd play a bit of an acoustic guitar, and he'd be like, "Oh, I think I've got some guitar chords. These are guitar chords." So we're like, "Oh, record them, put them in a beat." And I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, whatever." And then it got to a point where it was like, you know what? I feel like I feel like I remember a conversation, and then the next thing we were there.
When did the Arctic Monkeys, literally, by the way, a life-changing band for many people, when did you guys just decide to make up the fact that we're starting a band now?
I know it was close to Christmas.
But you ever think it's weird that conversation actually impacted like hundreds of thousands of people's actual existence? It caused marriages and shit, man.
Yeah.
It caused marriages. It made people have kids at certain times.
I don't think I've ever thought about that.
Like, people actually did certain things based on, like, even the bass. Did you write the bass? Did you write do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do? You made that up.
Yeah.
When I was like 17, I'd put in that and act differently because it happened. You'd be feeling something on the way to like a party or a bar. You'd hear that bass, you go, "Okay, I'm doing this tonight."
Yeah.
It would influence your opinion.
Amazing.
It's absolutely crazy to think that three boys from Sheffield who were kind of messing, deciding where they were eating fucking fish fingers tonight, made up a band one day. Yeah. So you, Al, and Helders get together.
It's got to start somewhere, somehow. Yeah. So we're doing the hip-hop thing. He's saying, "Oh, I've got a few guitar chords." And then the next thing, he's got an electric guitar. Only playing a few chords, not probably 3 or 4 chords, not a lot. And then we're like, "Oh, let's just start a band. Should we start a band? Let's start a band." That's literally.
And no one could play anything.
No one could play anything. Al could play a couple of guitar chords. I couldn't play anything. Elders couldn't play anything. And I just said, "Oh, I'll play guitar as well." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, but if there's going to be 3 of us, you should play bass guitar." And I was like, "What the fuck's a bass guitar?" And they were like, "Oh, it's got like 4 strings, but it sounds lower than this." And because his dad was a music teacher, his dad like went, "Oh yeah," and just kind of taught me a little bit. And then Els was like, "Oh, I want to be in a band. I'll just learn drums then." So he just said, "I'll just learn drums." Then that Christmas, I got a bass guitar. Els got a drum kit.
How were you all so good so quick?
We weren't good.
But within 24 months, you had released the biggest debut album in British history. I don't think it was 24
months. Can't have been. What's that? 2 years?
From when you actually started, yeah?
From when I actually first played the guitar. When did that album come out? 2006?
But yeah, Beneath the Boardwalk, which is all the tunes that were basically on the album, which was shared by people online, was already out. So you'd already written around 10 tunes that would be on the biggest debut album in UK history within 20 fucking months of picking up instruments.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
How did you get so good at bass so quick?
I don't feel like anyone ever got good. I just feel like we just kept going. We just didn't stop. I think that was it. We never were like, oh, you're a great drummer. Great
Did any
bass player.
ever tap each other on the back? Like when Turner, let's just say Fake Tales of San Francisco.
Yeah.
You three start this band, Al's dad has an opinion, and then you all get together. How did the tune start? Does he go, right, is a few gods and is a few lyrics?
Yeah.
And then do you attach the bass to that?
Sometimes Al would say, I've got a song, I'm going to play this, you should just play this as well. Or I'm going to play this, why don't you try something like this? Or I'm going to play this, what can you do on top of that? So there's kind of every different way of trying it.
So you go to his gaff, and he'd have a new tune nearly every time. Because on Beneath the Boardwalk, which was named after, basically, they used to hand out demos of all the tunes they've recorded. Al, I believe, worked in the iconic Boardwalk.
Me and Al
yeah, you both worked in that boozer.
But that's kind of a long time after, so I'm sorry, I feel like I've missed a bit. So when we said we'd start a band, we had some friends who were already in a band called Milburn from Sheffield. And we went to the Boardwalk and watched them. That was probably one of the first gigs I ever went to, was to watch Milburn, who were friends of ours, and they were like our age. Two brothers in, one playing guitar, one's playing bass and singing. And we were like, they're doing it. Why don't we just do it?
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, if you get some songs, you can support us, because they'd I'd say it was a 200 capacity venue, they'd probably have 100 people come and watch them. So like, oh, you can come and play before you can come and support us. So like, all right, let's just do that. So that was the initial start of the band.
What was the first ever gig?
We played
the Grapes.
The Grapes, yeah. Yeah, it's shut down as a venue, but you can go in the pub now.
We're going for a pint after. Yeah. What a boozer.
Yeah.
The first ever gig the Art of So you're in the Grapes, you don't really know what you're doing.
I've been in there since. But
kind of start up, you're making it up, but when you knew Al was capturing basically youth culture,
we never knew that. I don't think we ever knew.
Were you just slamming the bass to it?
Yeah.
Because that first album,
no, there was never anybody saying, "What are you talking about? That shit." No one, and I can't remember anybody in that circle ever saying that shit.
So you boys are just going, he's going.
So we would just encourage each other, and like as a person, that's what I'd like to do anyway. Like I don't kind of discourage someone from doing something. If you're doing something and I don't think it's amazing, I say, keep going. It's good. Keep going, because you're eventually going to come up with something good. So we're practicing in Al's mum and dad's garage on back of their house. There's 3 of us. Els is doing the same drum beat for every song because he's just learning how to play drums. He's playing the same drum fill because that's the only drum fill he can do. Then there's 3 of them like, oh, we want it to sound a bit bigger. Al's not singing at that point either. There's no one singing. We're just playing covers of...
Was he shy to sing nearly?
I think so, yeah. We were singing like covers of Strokes, The Vines, Beatles ones when we could get his head round it. And I think that's how we got good at instruments. And then we said, oh, let's get another guitarist. And Al said, oh, there's a lad who lives up road called Jamie who's a year older than us, but he can play guitar a bit. I'll get him to come down. So the next time he turned up, and then there was us 4, and we had a friend called Glyn who we went to school with, and he said, oh,
Glyn.
I'll come and sing. So he came to sing. Didn't work out. He didn't want to. He couldn't sing. Not that he couldn't sing. He just didn't.
You didn't get your style.
It just wasn't right. It just wasn't right for him. Like, so then Al said, "I'll tell you what. I'll just sing while till we find another singer."
Yeah.
And then he just stayed as the singer. Do you know what I mean? He just stayed as the guy who was doing it just worked that way. So we just carried on doing that. Practiced for a bit. Booked us first gig. I was working at a hairdresser's in town, sweeping floor, and I ended up getting all them to come to gigs so it looked busy. So we played upstairs at the Grapes.
I heard that before, that you guys used to at least get like maybe 50 to 100 people going, so it looked like there was a lot of people playing.
Probably never 100. Probably never more than 30 people. Do you know what I mean?
But you made sure it looked like
looked really busy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even though we knew everybody there. It was like playing a party to someone.
Brilliant PR, though.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're 17 here.
Yeah.
You're literally so young. It's crazy.
So we just kept doing gigs. We did the Grapes, and then we did a gig at the Boardwalk. At the first gig and second gig, we're doing half covers, half our own songs.
You know the Boardwalk. You know when you burnt the first demo?
Yeah.
and you burned 18 tracks onto a CD.
But we never did that.
You never did it.
We
Someone
never
else
did
did. I
that.
thought you
Someone else
made the
did that.
CD and they put it online and made it called
Yeah,
Beneath the Boardwalk.
Yeah, I mean, a bit like that. But what we'd do is we would wait till we got 3 songs that we would play all the way through. All right, we've practiced these enough. Let's go to a studio. There was a studio in town called Two Fly, which with a guy called Alan Smythe who used to record every band in Sheffield. You just record there, £200. You get a full day, so it's 50 quid each. Full day, 10 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Get there, set up, make sure everything sounds right, play your songs, record your vocals. He'd tell you to fuck off and go and get some dinner. He'd mix all the songs, come back, he'd play them, any tweaks, do them, put them on a CD, and you're gone. 7 o'clock, you're out of there loading your 2 cars up with your amps and your drums.
Yeah.
So we'd do that, and every time we did that, we would then spend the night before a gig burning that onto as many CDs as we could be, or sometimes 10, sometimes 20, 30, and give those out at gigs.
You gave them out, and then somebody basically went online and put them all together.
A photographer who called himself the Sheriff, who was a friend of ours now called Mark Bull. He said he wanted to give someone these songs. He wanted to show someone these songs, but he didn't want to send them a CD. So he just put them on MySpace and sent them a link to this MySpace. That's how it all started.
And you were the first band basically to use the phenomenon of the internet.
And the band never used it.
But real quick, before we get into the actual rise, you were obviously in a sitting room or a garage the first time you guys created like Marty Bum.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you for obviously you might not.
I do remember that. I do remember that particular one. Yeah.
The jam for Marty Bum.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, I think Al probably brought that as a pretty much as a song and said, right, this is my part. Why don't you try something like this? You try something like this, and then he'd tell elders maybe this is the vibe. Let's just try and do that. So there'd only be 3 or 4 parts. You'd have to play each. Everyone would learn the parts in practice room. And then we'd play it as a song. I mean, I remember when we first did that, we got a practice room. We had our own practice room in Neep's End.
Yeah.
Which we got, and it's had a pool table in. Like, it was our own room, and it had got a pool table. We were so excited. I remember sitting on this pool table. I'd sit on the pool table and we'd practice. And do you know what I mean? We'd all have his amps in there, and it's like shit and cold in there. But yeah, we'd just get in there and play that. I remember playing that round a couple of times, and I remember playing. There was a practice room, like a building around the corner and up the road called the Attic, a practice room called the Attic, and it had probably like 4 or 5 different rooms, practice rooms in there. I remember writing, what's it called? Dancing Shoes.
Dancing Shoes.
I remember.
What do you mean, what's it called? It's to change people's lives.
Yeah, no. I remember when we writ those riffs in that room, and we kind of feel really accomplished leaving that practice room, being able to play that song all the way through. And obviously, there's no recording, there's no phone, so you got to remember your parts.
Yeah.
Because next week we're going to do that song
Which
again.
I think makes people better. I think it actually increases the standard.
Of course it does. It definitely does. Rather than just being able to write, I'll just record it on my phone and we can all listen to this before we do it again.
Yeah.
So then the next week we'd get in and say, right, we're going to play that one. All right, let's go. Elders would count it in and know what you were doing.
Because your life has moved on, obviously, and so was everyone's. And you're listening to those tunes, and what they are basically talking about is young guys going out in Northern England, romantically interested in birds, causing trouble, nearly being hopelessly romantic and being let down, and getting in fights and stuff. And it's although for you now as a guy in his 30s, just a bit of crack though. Now you're looking at it going, oh, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
But it's still to this day, I think it's one of the best albums ever made for how raw and authentic it is, man.
Well, yeah. Well, it's raw and authentic because that's all it could have been. There was no like, oh, let's just imagine we're doing this. It was like, if something happened, it's going to be a song. Like, I was splitting up with his missus or having an argument, it's going to be mardible. That practice room that we had.
Would you have known that missus? Did you know what he was like when he was writing it? Were you like, I know what he's talking about here?
Yeah, because I've known him since we were, obviously since we're 12, 13 years old. So I've known every girlfriend he's got. I know always kissing on a Friday night. You know what I mean? Or anyone kissing. You know
and
what I
like,
mean?
was there a bit of anger as well, as opposed to just romanticism? Was there a bit of like delusion with your society at the time? Like, you know, all you people are vampires.
Certain things are about certain things and certain people, and it feels like when you don't know, it could be it's vague enough for you to apply it to anything, but it's also not vague enough that it's still about what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like certain romance. I told you about a practice room with a pool table in. We had a party in there, and we invited another band with friends of ours, and they brought their friends, and we brought our friends, and we all had some drinks, and we kind of we'd play a couple of songs, and their band would play a couple of songs, then we'd play some more, or we'll play one, and you play one.
And
Just
kids who
passing
like
each
to
other
scrap the
guitars.
pool cues in their hands.
And then, so what
They
happened
started
that
trouble.
night is we realised our friends don't know their friends
Oh, I'm
from
crying.
different parts of town.
Yeah.
So then something happens, someone throws a pool cue, someone throws a snooker ball, pool ball,
Jesus.
end up fighting, we've got to get everyone outside.
Just because he's had a couple of cans, he feels like he can act like a bit of a dickhead. This is breaking my heart, man. I know for you it means nothing, but for hundreds of thousands of people, to hear the origins of that music is absolutely crazy. And then when you wrap it up at the end and you
But
go,
also it's-
over there's friends of mine,
Yeah.
what can I say? I've known them for a long, long time. Even though they might overstep the line, you still can't get angry in the same way. You're kind of saying,
That's my mate.
both
just
are,
chilling. You're
both
as
our
bad as
groups
each
are
other,
wrong, but we can't get angry at our
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But a lot of that I feel like is like, because we grew up listening to hip hop, these are like hip hop punchlines.
Yes.
They're like hip hop punchlines
Like
and hip hop.
bar observations.
Yeah.
The same thing that fucking Tupac and
And
Biggie
Jay-Z
were
are
up to.
doing it.
Yes.
It's all like that.
What's around you.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're calling it as you see it. It's just
Yeah.
social commentary.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fucking remarkable to hear that from the
So
source.
it's like, yeah.
I need to go Josh real quick. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I know.
He's a good keeper.
He's a very good keeper. I think he'll end up at Man U, and he'll end up at England. I don't know if he'll replace him, but he might replace the guy after him.
Yeah. Like, what age is he?
Only young, maybe 23, 24, something like that. I'm not sure. Dean Henderson. How old is Dean Henderson? 23, 24?
Rugby.
No, Dean Henderson.
Oh, I said Ian Henderson. I was like, what is he talking about? Yeah, so these basically life-changing tunes for a lot of people, and I know how it could seem hilarious to you. I nearly find myself deliberately making mistakes romantically just so I could justify it. When I was like 17, 18, I'd get in fights with people just so I could sing a bit of Mardy Bum. I'd act like a dickhead after a few cans just so I could be that guy. You do anything to relate to music. It's all about associating lyrics with yourself. Like the Arctic Monkeys, that first album. What's it like to take that from a bedroom, from these social observations, then you get a demo, 5 minutes with the Arctic Monkeys, and then you sign for Domino Records, you get an album. When that shit literally changes UK society, your lives, your family's lives, and you're suddenly now going to Reading and Leeds on the Carling stage, which is usually used for nobodies, but because you have this online backing, thousands of people show up.
Crazy.
This happened in a matter of weeks. What kind of effect does that take on an 18-year-old's brain?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for us, we just used to say, like, the only thing we used to say was, like, we were just so involved. It was like, apparently in the eye of a storm, it's really quiet. When there's a tornado touching the floor, ripping everything up round it, in the centre of that, it's all very quiet. It's like the quietest bit, but it's madness round it.
Yeah.
We just used to feel like that's what it was like for us. Do you know what I mean? It was like
You stuck together and you pretended
were just-
nearly it wasn't happening.
we just went with it every time. We were just four lads going with it, but we were still arrogant enough to just do what we wanted. I remember one time, probably might be before the album came out, but yeah. So we did Leeds and Reading, which was crazy. Like we walked out and we were like, oh, I hope people are going to be there. I hope it's going to be busy. So we walk out, and in Reading, I don't think we ever done a gig in Reading. It's rammed. This tent's rammed, and you bend down to look out of the tent, and you can just still see people.
Yeah.
And
And
the
they're
gig was
singing your
crazy. And
tunes.
they're singing the songs.
And they're dancing to your bass line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you went from making it up in a bedroom
yeah,
a few years ago
Yeah.
to now playing to 20,000 people.
yeah,
And then, obviously, the album sells quicker than any UK album ever. It gets voted the 30th best ever debut album in Rolling Stone history, and you were there literally in the bedroom when it was created. Then you toured the US.
yeah,
And then when you have basically everything that a normal late teenager will consider important, possibility of money, forever.
Mm-hmm.
Fame, gratification of what you do. You would have like been considered a excellent bassist just from association, even with the band.
Yeah.
And even women, things like women that 19-year-olds consider. What made you go, see you later?
It was kind of a sticky one, really, because I remember we were on tour in America, and were we in America? No, we were on tour in Europe. We just finished a UK tour, which finished at Brixton Academy.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I'd have known what was going to happen, I would have made that the last gig I ever did. But so we finished that gig. We finished that tour. The last gig's in London, Brixton Academy. We stop overnight. We got a day off, and then the next day we're going on a European tour. So we do that. We go on this European tour. I have some family stuff go off at home, and after that tour, we're meant to have like 3 days off, go and record, go on a tour in America for a month. And it's like I can't really do that right now. I've got some stuff I need to take care of. I can't really just drop sometimes you got to prioritize what's important at that moment as well. Do you know what I mean? And then you can always look back and think, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should have done that. But I had some stuff I had to take care of.
But you knew the boys well enough, didn't you, to kind of say, here's the deal. I need 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I'll see you on the other end.
And that's what happened. And we were like, I remember the last gig we did was in Lisbon, and I remember saying to Al, look, I just need a bit longer than we've got off to do this, to just take care of some stuff. I can't really do this recording, and the America thing's it's gonna be a bit much. So he's like, all right. We knew Nick. Nick's a good friend of ours. Nick. Yeah. I remember I told you about Milburn, who was the first band we ever saw.
Nick was in that.
Nick's cousins with the two of the guys that were in that band, and Nick's band had supported us. We'd supported Nick's band back in the day and things. He's a lovely guy. I love Nick. I know Nick now. He's a nice guy. So we were like, all right, let's ring Nick, see if he can do it. He's got a week to learn these songs, see if he can come and do this recording and this American tour. I said, I'll take care. I was going to play the bass on the recording, so I ain't got to worry about the studio. I can get my stuff right. Nick's going to do the American tour, come back, then I'm going to jump back in. And then they came back off that America tour and they said, we're going to keep Nick.
So you didn't actually choose to say, I'm leaving for good?
No.
But when you knew the boys for as long as you did, were you not a bit bad out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They had they released the second album yet when they said that?
We were writing the second album in sound checks. So cause we didn't have time to practice.
You played bass on songs like for Fluorescent Adolescent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there
I played those bass lines
when they were written. Like.
When they were getting written and stuff. Yeah. But not like Nick played them on the recording, so the Nick's bass lines.
Yeah,
but
it's a huge risk.
I think a lot more differently about the whole situation now, being 33 years old, than I did being 21 years old.
Was it not a bit, considering the success of the first album, even risky on their end to change anything? Yeah. Or was there an element of you that wasn't as into it as they were?
No, I was always into it. I like, I felt like I would have died for it. That's how passionate I was about it. Like I felt like I wanted to embody everything this is about.
And you were there from the start as well as they were.
Yeah.
But there was no element of you because I remember, obviously this is just the articles and this is what a PR guy puts out, but it was like things like fatigue.
Yeah, a lot of bullshit in that.
You were willing to have the life of a touring successful rock band, which basically means no sleep.
Yeah.
And was there drugs involved in this kind of era?
No,
never.
No.
They were never that type of band who went into that kind of thing.
Never. I think we were just a bit. I'd like to say we were too young for that, but we were just we'd fucking drink beer, we'd drink spirits,
and nearly still play Championship Manager on your computer,
and we'd smoke a spliff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there were nothing heavier, no heavier drugs than alcohol and a spliff.
Was it something that pained you after you left when you saw the continuous success? Were you bitter at any point, going, lads, lads. What the fuck? I'm going to send the odd drunken message to Helders here calling them a cunt.
Well, I mean, after that happened to me, we didn't speak for about two years.
Oh, really?
I didn't speak to them, and they didn't speak to me. So it's like, I don't know.
Who told you we're keeping on Nick?
They did.
Just Al on a phone call or what?
No, we went for a meeting when they got back off the American
with like
tour.
representation from like record labels and shit there? Oh, shit. So that after becoming serious with your old school buddies, you'd made up something in a bedroom, and now suddenly we have guys in suits telling us how we can speak to each other.
But I remember I went to our manager's office. We were supposed to meet in a pub. So I get to this pub, and I'm walking down the road, and I've got my iPod, classic one iPod, and I'm listening to Ian Brown, The Fear. Walking down this road, saying to myself, for everything a reason.
Yeah.
Like not knowing what's about to happen.
Did you think they
I get
might
to
have
the
been
pub.
telling you?
No, not at all. I had no idea. Got to the pub, no one's there. The manager's assistant is sat outside the pub in his car saying, "Oh, we're not meeting here now. We're going to Jeff's office." Jumped in car, went to Jeff's office, walked in. Them three are stood there. I can see him. I can see exactly where everyone was stood and sat.
Helders, Turner, Cook.
Yeah, Jeff was in there as well. And then we just started talking. They said that. I feel like I've never even told anybody any of this before, but it's a big scoop.
We're having. It's not going to be. We're
but,
having a laugh, man. We're interested.
No, yeah. But so I just remember once they'd said it, I thought, right, well, that's a decision made.
What'd they say to you?
They said we're gonna keep.
Did someone speak for them,
yeah,
or did they speak?
Al did the speaking. Jamie did a bit of speaking. Matt, not so much.
Helders was a bit kind of like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they all was like, oh yes, let's do it. I can't wait to pull this plug. Can't wait to do this. I'm not saying anyone enjoyed any of it.
Do you think he was better than you?
Did I what? Sorry.
Do you think Nick was just actually better than you? Do you think he offered something different? Do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, he can sing and play. I can't sing and play at the same time, but I don't think that was the reason
Necessary. Do you think if you stayed in the Arctic Monkeys, they stylistically could have achieved what they've achieved now with albums like AM and Tranquility Base, where it has moved to a different genre of music that relies on harmonies?
Difficult, isn't it?
Or you think you could have developed with them? You look at people like Helders, who you grew up on playing the same drum beat going, look at him. Helders is now an established, proper drummer.
Yeah.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
He played, was he on Iggy Pop album recently?
He played on Iggy Pop's album.
Iggy Pop's album.
with Iggy Pop. Josh Homme played in that band as well. So I remember all that happening in that room. I just thought, how am I going to deal with this? Right, let me just...
That must be the most heartbreaking thing.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was soul destroyed. Probably one of the very few soul destroying moments.
Imagine this: you're from Northern England, you're from Dublin, you're from anywhere. You and your mates who you've known from 13 pick up instruments. You start creating these tunes that take over the world, and you conquer it. Suddenly, you take a 3-week break, and you're told you're not involved anymore. That, for me, bar like death of loved one, which, by the way, depending on circumstances, long-term illness, this beats it. That's the worst news you could fucking get.
Yeah.
So what you do the next day?
I remember being in that room once they said it, and I just thought, okay, let me just try and keep a bit. Let's just try and be solid about this. So I remember I shook all three of their hands,
as if you didn't know them.
No, I just remember saying, "Good luck." And I shook all three of their hands, and I walked outside, and I had this like jumper on, and I took it off because I didn't remember. I remember just throwing it to one side, and I walked out, and then the manager came down after me, and so Jeff was the manager, and they've got another manager called Ian.
Is Jeff still there?
No, Jeff's not there anymore. Ian.
Was Jeff a bit of a dick? Yeah, one of those music young manager guys wanted to cause trouble from mates who actually created the source of glory.
I don't know. I still to this day don't really know the full reason of what happened to me. Or
Do you reckon people got in
happened.
their ear?
It could have done, could not have done. I don't know. I just remember walking out, and Ian, the big manager, was sat in a cafe next door. So, and then I just thought, this is just it's a big organised plan. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to get him in here. We're going to do this. Then he's got to sit there. And I remember sitting with Ian, and so I've just found this news out. 21 years old, Ian, and Ian's saying to me, "Right, you're going to have to get a lawyer." And I was just like, "Wow, okay, right." So then all that happened. I remember going home, and I don't really remember much for quite a long time after that.
Did you booze? Did you drug?
Not really. It's weird. I don't know what I did.
From 21 to 25, where were you?
I actually don't know. That's the thing. That's the weirdest thing is when I think of the year 2007, 8, and 9, it's dark.
You obviously
It's
remember
just blank.
Sheffield United
It's just
getting
blank.
relegated for no reason because West Ham were playing the league.
I remember that. I
players.
remember that. But that's probably one of the only memories I have of that time.
It was just like, why did I take those 3 weeks?
Yeah. Obviously, then you start beating yourself up, saying,
Was the 3 weeks over something as kind of menial as a bird at the stage, or was it a serious issue?
a little bit serious than that.
It wasn't just a girlfriend you don't know anymore.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you don't necessarily regret it.
I mean, it's just too short to regret it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just.
But I'd
think-
have
I think-
more
I think-
anger. I'd have more anger if I was involved in the origins. If you were picked up along the way and got fucked out,
Yeah.
it's not really your option. But when you'd been, in terms of even the knowing of the people for 5 or 6 years, there must be a tiny sense of betrayal.
The hardest thing was because I mean, me and Jamie were close and things, but Jamie kind of got drafted in because he lived up the road, and
Yeah.
but I kind of saw him when we had practice and things like that. I didn't really know him outside of the band, whereas Alan Elders, we'd had a life before we'd even knew how many strings were on a guitar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was
They're best mates, are they?
yeah, and it was difficult. It was difficult. It was a difficult part of life for a few months after. I remember ringing Al the next day, and he was just like, "Oh, I don't know what to say." And then I just remember I hung up, and we didn't speak for a few years after that. And then I remember watching him. I was supposed to go. They played Leeds and Reading after that, and they were the second headline just before Muse.
Okay.
And me and Chris McClure, who was on the cover of the first Monkeys album, he was like my best friend.
The
smoker
smoker?
a cigarette, yeah, he was my best friend. So
Is he still knocking about, yeah?
Yeah. He's doing. It's just for Vice. He's just done a little documentary for Vice.
Really, yeah?
Yeah.
He's just a normal bloke who
Just a normal
smokes.
guy, yeah. He's just a friend of ours.
Brilliant. What a brilliant album cover. And you know they got shit from the NHS because they claimed it encouraged smoking.
Yeah.
And then the Arctic Monkeys PR guy claimed if you look at the image of the ashtray, it actually clearly paints it in a negative light. It was quite well done.
So me and him went to go and watch the Monkeys because I thought
Was he on your side,
he was
though?
on my side.
He
yeah,
was going,
yeah.
you got fucked by these cunts.
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck these, let's just
Yeah.
fucking go and drink
These
the ride.
Wednesday
Let's go and drink the
bastards.
fucking rider." He's Wednesday as well.
Oh, is he?
Another one. So we've gone there. The only way I can get a lift to Leeds Festival is with our friend's mum, who's sisters with Nick's mum.
Jesus.
So I'm sat in the back of a car with Nick's mum in the front and me and Chris in the back, and we went there. We got to guest list. Right, you're on guest list. Get to guest list. My name's not even on the guest list. We get there. They not letting us in. Tour manager's got to come. I'm so sorry. You come through. Text me down. So we get there. They're just about to go on. They go on stage, stand at the side of the stage and watch the gig, and then come down after, and it's pissing it down in rain. And they're just like, "Oh yeah, don't go in the dressing room just yet. Just let them have 15 minutes." So me and Chris are stood in this rain, having just watched that, seeing how many people were watching that band playing those songs in the fucking rain.
Do you still make money off the sales of the first album?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like, what are we talking? A check comes in the post or what?
Yeah, check comes in.
And like when it first
Check
sold,
comes to
like,
my
you know when it
account.
sold all those records, yeah?
Yeah.
When you left the Arctic Monkeys and you're 21,
Mm-hmm.
how much money do you reckon you made off that first album? Would you have made a couple of 100,000 off playing the bass on that thing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got enough to buy myself a house,
Really?
and this is the other thing that gets me. So like, don't get to me. That kind of makes me feel good about the whole situation. Like, and I just feel like it's a bit of a testament to my character that how I feel about it now from how I felt about it then. So we've started it. I've gone through this really dark stage in my life.
Were
I'm
you
not involved.
were you depressed about the whole
Really
thing?
depressed. Really
Like, were you like
can
staying
imagine.
indoors,
Yeah, of
considering
course.
were you
life,
considering suicide kind of thing?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Considering like, if these people can do this, what can?
Yeah, you
what
felt
else can
completely
happen?
betrayed.
Like, what's? Yeah, of course, been very close to. You know what I mean? Not being here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then managing to talk to people and get through it, and time heals
It's
everything.
such a difficult one, though, isn't it? Because most of these cases of things like depression are about like chemical imbalance of the brain, but yours is just an old school Hollywood movie betrayal.
Yeah.
And it can be dressed up all at once. I do believe if you start a band, and I'm as big an Arctic Monkeys fan as the next guy, I don't know what the circumstances were in which the 3 weeks you took, whatever. It does look a bit like a PR dude, fucking Southerner, got in their ear and told them, and told them, they're kids, man.
Yeah.
Think about what 20-year-olds are. Imagine what you could tell a 20-year-old now.
Yeah.
If we gave the three of us 10 minutes, go out to the street and convince a 20-year-old to shit in their own hand and wipe it in their face, you'd win.
Yeah.
So you were on rock's end of life, basically.
Really low. And I remember when they headlined Glastonbury for the first time, I was sat in my house on my own in the dark.
Why didn't you turn the lights on?
I might have had a lamp on. It wasn't. Let me feel sorry for myself. But I do remember watching them headline Glastonbury on television, and I was just sat at home on my own, just watching it. Just crying, watching them headline.
Actually crying, watching it?
Of course, yeah. Can you imagine what that's like?
No. It sounds absolutely horrendous. So
that was a long time ago.
Do you think that, like, the tattoos, the gold teeth, and I've heard some of your new tunes with Hannah. Yeah. I think, first of all, pretty remarkable stuff. I don't know why it isn't getting more of a thing. Her voice is incredible. Did you produce, wrote, and played the instruments on that thing?
Yeah, and
are you a bit afraid of over promoting it because you're scarred from the notion of fame?
No.
You're Andy Nicholson of the Arctic Monkeys. That album, regardless of what they do after, and as good as I think that is, I think they're one of the only bands who've actually transformed their image with the times. I've loved every single one. In fact, my second favourite one, bar the first one, is the last one. But you're still... Do you not love the last one?
Well, I haven't ever listened to a full album apart from the first one.
Yeah.
And I probably haven't listened to that in... I don't know if I've ever listened to it since we finished recording it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I hear the odd songs. You're driving in your car and it comes on radio. You bet you look on the dance floors on. Do you know what I mean?
The last album, though.
But I mean, the last album, it was all right. But I actually remember saying to Al, because I feel like songs and
Are you mates with Al and the boys now?
Yeah. Like I'll see them when they come to Sheffield, or if I'm in the same city there.
They're at your wedding and shit, were they?
Yeah, they were at my wedding. Yeah, and I speak to them as much as I can. Obviously, they're fucking busy doing stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I was always doing something, but what I'm saying is, so it went from me crying on my own in the dark. It wasn't in the dark.
With Sheffield United jersey.
Yeah.
Come on, you blades! Fuck you, headlining Glastonbury. We're under Neil Warwick and we're playing top flat of footy.
I had a kit on and shin pads and boots, crying. No, so we've gone from there to time healing a lot of wounds and a lot of things passing, and I just feel like now I'm in a position where I feel like, you know what, me and four other people decided to start something out of nothing, and now everyone involved in that and like someone else outside of it, like their
financially
family,
set up for life.
Financially, you've got a house out of an idea.
Yeah.
How can you be mad when you've got a house?
Because you
out
could
of an
have
idea?
more, man.
I know, but what is more? Because I mean, I feel like they might be millionaires, and I'm not a millionaire.
Are they millionaires? What's the story?
Yeah, of course they
Because
are.
money, because music went online and you guys played a big role in it. Surely they're not making Bowie money.
They're the last band. That band is the last band
Who mix both?
who make money from selling music and touring. Really. Because they've got very loyal fans and they put a lot of music out. They sell arenas out. Do you know what I mean? They're doing well for themselves. So what I'm basically saying is everyone is safe in life because of an idea. And no, I might not be a millionaire and they are millionaires, but I can walk from here to wherever, as far as I want, and no one will say anything to me. Whereas one of them probably couldn't even get to End Up Road. So who's lost out? I mean, it just depends what your priorities are. If you want to be a multi-millionaire, and I'm not saying that they're miserable or unhappy or anything like that, because I know they're not, but there's always a give and take. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Can you still have opinions on their musical direction?
I remember when AM came out, I remember saying to Al, That's sick.
Goldteeth genre with it, though, didn't it? There was a bit of hip hop in that.
There was a lot of hip hop in that. There was a lot of Dr. Dre in that, which is
Yeah.
what we grew up listening to. And I remember saying to him, I feel like this album is a fresh start for this band. I feel like this band has been able to this is like a first album again.
Do you like Last Shadow Puppets?
I like some stuff on the first album.
Do you like Miracle Liner and that shit off the second album?
I've not heard the second.
You
album.
haven't heard the second
I've
album?
never listened to a full Arctic Monkeys album.
Does it become a stage of we're working for someone here? Because at the end of the day, everyone can do their bit, but the literal lyric writer, the guy who creates the songs, he becomes the boss of a small company, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, of course.
So although Al was just your mate, was he a leader character, or was he just a quiet guy who was part of everything?
He was just a quiet guy, but I remember personally being a bit pissed off when we got off of. This sounds like a sort of rock star knobhead thing, but I remember being pissed off. We got off a flight back into England, and NME had put Al as #1 coolest guy in the world, and they'd cropped a photo of the full band, and it was just Al. And I was like, look, there's 4 of us here. It's not just you. I just feel like I would say to him, look, it's not just you. There's 3 other people.
Do you think Al could have done it with 3 other guys and would have done it with 3 other guys?
He wouldn't have done it. I'm saying if it wasn't for his best mates doing it with him,
he wouldn't have the encouragement.
I don't know
to
if
do
he
it.
would have had the encouragement. I don't know. He's such a talented guy. He's, like you say, he's probably one of the best songwriters in the last what?
I'd say
Since who?
I go as far as saying, because I'm an Arctic Monkeys fan, I think he's better than Noel. I think he's the best since the Stones and the Beatles.
I don't really like Rolling Stones. I'm not really a Rolling Stones.
I presume you love the Beatles.
Yeah, of course. Smiths
meant more, had more pain in their voice, but I think Turner shit will last forever. I think he's done an album for everyone. He's followed himself through the 20s and given you what you need at that time. 19, that's what I care about. 21, 23, and then now. I actually personally think the last album in a way is a goodbye.
You think?
I think he's going to the fucking Albert Hall or something next, man. I think that he's moved to a stage where he's starting to do some kind of orchestratic music, because the tunes are just so, let's make fun of what we thought we are and what we became. I just wanted to be one of those Strokes is the first lyric. And then if you hear the tune anyways, he's nearly saying, we did it, we've got the money, and look how little it fucking meant.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's a remarkable piece.
What it is with that band as well, and when I was there, it was very much like that. It's like we were... Arrogant's not the word, because it was not arrogant and there's no ego, but it was like, we don't want to do it, we're not going to do it. Like I was going to say earlier, like, remember just before the first album came out, we went to do a press day in France. So you go to Paris, you're in this hotel, we've got 2 days of press, which means you're going to sit at a table like this, and we're going to do this for half an hour every so we're going to do this, we're going to have 10 minutes, we're going to do it again, 10 minutes, do it again, do it again. So we're going to do that for 2 days, between 12 and 4.
Yeah.
And on the first day, we were like, I remember we were going to bed. I used to share with elders. Back when we'd share rooms. And we were just going to bed, and we were just like, you know what, let's fuck tomorrow off. Let's just get up. So let's meet in lobby at 9. Because they want us to start at 10. So let's meet in lobby at 9. So we met in lobby at 9. We were like, let's just go. So we just walked out of the hotel, and we just went missing. And as manager was calling everybody, where are you? There's people here to do press. What's happening? And we just went missing. We just went for a walk around Paris. We just went to Eiffel Tower, just because that's what we were like. We were just like, oh, fuck this. It's fucking... And then apparently they managed to get everyone to come back the next day. So we still had to do it all the next day, like we were supposed to do anyway, but it was just all a little... But I think it just kind of set the tone where people were like, oh, they don't really give a shit about this press.
Was it tough being known as the guy, though, in your own life? Because I've heard so many times throughout my teen years and 20s, Arctic Monkeys used to have a different basis. He left because he didn't want the fame.
Yeah.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah,
didn't want the fame.
Yeah.
Everyone has this reason why. Andy and Nick,
you
they're
don't
so
know
famous.
how many times... If I had £1 for every time someone came up to me and went, why did you leave?
Yeah.
Why would you leave? Why did you leave? You said
What's it like being that guy? You're being accused
I would
of
have more
regret.
money than them.
Imagine, Pat, that we all live in a life where you question yourself all the time, and you know when someone else questions you, it kind of hurts a bit. You feel particularly bad about it. Imagine people constantly knowing that you made this decision, even though you were kind of forced out, to leave something so successful, and that being the conversation every fucking bar you walked in.
Yeah.
Like, how'd you meet did your wife ask you when you met her?
No. Well, the thing is with my wife is, I met my wife when I was like, before I met Al. When we moved from that side of town to that side of the town, she was growing up in the house next door to what I grew up in.
Okay.
So we moved there and she lived next door with her parents.
Oh, shit.
And we used to like play art together. We'd go to
Yeah.
the park and, you know what I mean, good at cinema and everything.
Yeah.
And then like, she was the first girl I ever kissed.
So you weren't...
And then we ended up moving out of that house back towards this way, and then I didn't see her for ages. So
And
I kind
then-
of knew her, and I knew her parents, and my mum knew her parents, and do you know what I mean? I knew her little sister and everything like that before.
And when did you meet her again? When you were like 26 or something?
I think we were a bit younger, probably about 25, 24, 25.
And
We've been married 6 years.
so she knew you before you were the guy who left
Yeah.
the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Think
Which has
that-
worked out quite nice, really.
Yeah, obviously.
Because
you-
to have to deal with that, and
You need the
her
guarantee.
parents are the safest people in
But
the world.
one
as
thing
well,
that you
so.
probably don't get enough credit for is that you're a musically talented individual.
Yeah, but you know what? What happened to me made me question it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It made
You're
me
just
think,
an
like,
item. You're just completely perishable.
Am I just some fingers on this playing these fucking strings, or have I got it in me to do it as well?
And do you think they've rediscovered that belief? Do you think that the identity changed from Lyle and Scott jumpers to so many tattoos, gold teeth, jewellery? Do you think that obviously it's a good look and you feel like it suits your music, but do you think you really wanted to run away from the indie bassman because you were betrayed by the concept of being the indie rock and roll bassman? You were fucked off.
Maybe
So you
maybe
need to
without
become a new
knowing
person,
it. Maybe
yeah.
without knowing it, yeah. I did hide myself away quite a lot after all that happened, and I remember a band called from Sheffield called Reverend the Makers. I used to go on tour with them quite a lot and just sit on vans, smoke weed. You know what I mean? Just hang about and just have a couple of spliffs, watch them do a gig, maybe get up and play a bit of guitar on one of their songs, or tambourine, or just mainly just go on tour with them and then chill at home. And do you know what I mean? When I got my own house and I started living on my own, I had a few people come and live with me, and we would just kind of smoke weed.
Yeah.
Smoke a lot of weed.
You got real into the weed
Yeah,
concept afterwards.
I'm still into that. I'm not really a big drinker. I was never really a big drinker.
Yeah.
I'm not really like, oh, let's go out and drink loads of pints, or let's go out and get bladdered. I'm not really a big drinker.
The one thing I'm interested to hear from you is, as a music guy, obviously you guys use the online platform for the first time to make it big, but do you think that like YouTube and social media and the concept of the internet has ruined music? Do you think that it's allowed for the brainwashing of people to start watching Ed Sheeran sing about a fucking Galway girl who plays a fiddle? By the way, I've been to Galway, never seen a girl play a fiddle. Second of all, he's copied it from the Monday tune. And Stormzy saying 6 times in one fucking verse about a backup dancer.
Yeah.
Do you think the next Morrissey now lives underground in a Manchester boozer as opposed to being famous because we have given major companies a platform to brainwash the kids into this is what you like? The Arctic Monkeys, I don't think, would make it today.
No, they wouldn't. They definitely would. They wouldn't.
No.
I don't think they would. And if they would, it would be a lucky move. But I mean, I don't think there's a band since them that has got.
So is guitar music dead?
Is it dead? I don't think it's dead. I just think, see, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, with the internet now and social media and all that shit? Because it's like anybody could do it, but also anybody could do it. Do you know what I mean? We could all start a band, put it however we want. Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all of that. You could do it, I could do it, he could do it. Everyone you can see could do it now. So the guy who couldn't get it out before can get it out now.
But word of mouth, for me, word of
shouldn't
mouth.
be getting it out is getting
Exactly.
it out.
For me, word of mouth kind of matters. You have to, at some stage, value the opinion of human beings.
Well, you have to build a fan base, don't you? You have to build a fan base of loyal people who like you for the reason you want them to like you.
Yeah.
Not just to become a celebrity. People are just quite
That's
happy
it,
now to
yeah.
be like, all right, I've got 50,000 followers
Yeah.
now. It's like,
I'll give a blowjob to a hot dog and put it on
Yeah.
YouTube
What
and
do
I'm
you do?
famous.
You
Like,
do
do you watch
nothing.
Love Island?
I didn't watch it this year, but I have watched it before. Yeah.
I just say no. Do you know what I mean? Arctic Monkeys don't watch Love Island.
No, do you know? And not this year.
In terms of Goldteeth, what is going forward like? Do you think? What are we talking? Album?
Yeah, I definitely want to do an album. I want to do. My plan was to put that first EP out, which was the first music I've ever released on my own.
Surely, if you really went about it properly and weren't so just betrayed by your friends and felt so insecure, surely you could have been back in a big band within seconds. You had just been part
Probably.
of the whatever people
When
say I am album.
When I left that band, when I parted ways
Yeah.
with that band, I probably could have got a record deal the next day.
Exactly.
I could have
Think
just said,
about
all
it.
right, yeah, I'll sing.
Do you think that name still serves you in good stead in the industry? The fact that you are a former Arctic Monkey, or do you just really want to avoid it? No, I'm Goldteeth. I'm
No,
tattooed.
definitely not trying to avoid it at all. But I'm not. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Like I play football on Sundays for a Sunday league team. These guys are like labourers, plumbers, all different types of jobs.
Yeah.
And I played for him for 6 months, and I just didn't say anything about me. I was just, my mate played for him, and he said, "Oh, do you want to come and play?" So I went and played.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like 6 months later, one of them found out, like, "Oh, is that you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it, And I was like, "Well, I don't know what any of you do for a job.
Yeah.
I'm not going to meet you and say, oh yeah, oh you're a plumber, all right, cool,
Yeah.
great. You know what I mean? It's like when we're not really there for that. We're there to just play football.
If the
It's not
Arctic
really-
Monkeys had a show on BBC in like 2 years that goes an audience with the Arctic Monkeys, and they were getting opinions from their friends and family and all this shit, and they wanted you to play the bass on the first tunes, would you still say fuck off, or would you go, I'll do it?
I'll do it.
Would you still be willing to work with the boys?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would with them. I would definitely work with them. I'm like, do you know what? All the bad feelings and all the negative shit and thoughts and feelings I had towards any of them is not there anymore. It's not there.
Yeah.
It's gone. I've got a wife. I've got a house. I've got a daughter. I don't really give a fucking shit about anything else.
And is mental health something you're also passionate about due to the fact that obviously it's not their fault, it's not yours, but the public position you were put in, you were put in literally a fishbowl of judgment. You're the guy who left the big band.
Do you know what I think
do you feel like telling so many people it's never time to give up? And even when you're giving me the example of people coming up to you in Sunday League, you're going from could have played the biggest stages in the world, then you're playing Sunday League, but you don't really necessarily view it as a fall. You view it as character development. And I'm not playing here because I'm here. It's just that I now see people as people.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get the message nearly out there that this kind of social hierarchy, and you also have the advantage of you're not fucking impressed by anybody because you've been there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's something you can.
I'm
do you
not-
know
I
what I
don't-
mean? You can
yeah.
tell your fucking daughter that. You can tell your
Yeah.
wife that. Although you weren't in the band, you're fully aware of just everyone's human.
Yeah.
No one's a fucking superpower,
Yeah.
but we live in a generation and a society where we've the Kardashians as the most famous people in the world. People are basing their likes off likes and follows.
It's heartbreaking.
It's all bullshit, though, isn't it?
Heartbreaking. I mean, it's like you've got to go through some shit to realise what actually fucking matters. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. At the end, it does not matter at all. There's no need to carry. I don't carry any bitterness. I don't see. I'm not saying, oh, I don't. Yeah, we're all friends, and then I'm getting in my car driving. Fucking knobs, fucking hate them. Do you know what I mean? It's not that at all. It's like I've got a lot of time for them. They want to ring me. They've got my number. I've got the same phone number I've had since 2004. So if you want to text me, I'm still on that number. Do you know what I mean? I'm not.
Just so we get a bit real with people for a second, and I'm going to hold you to this.
Go on.
Who do you think lifts the Premier League at the end of the season?
Sheffield United.
No, but come on. who lifts it? Chelsea?
No.
I think Chelsea are
Chelsea
underrated.
I know I'm going to say, but you're not going to like it.
You're not saying it. What? Man,
Why do you think so?
they haven't won it
I
since
think
you were
Liverpool
two.
are going
Fuck
to do it.
off. We're
think
deleting that.
Liverpool
We're
are gonna-
editing that out. Why?
City. No. I do think Liverpool are good. I think they were so close last year.
Where do you think Sheffield United finish?
Honestly, or wish.
Honestly. Do you think you stay up?
I think we'll stay up. I think we'll stay. I think we'll probably finish 2 or 3 in the bottom half. I think we'll finish. I'll take 16th now.
Who's your favourite Sheffield United player ever? Who's your hero?
Probably Billy Sharp.
Really?
Probably Billy Sharp. And a little fact for you. when I was a kid, I used to play football. I used to play football for a team, and I had to mark Billy Sharp, and we played against him. Fucking hell. I played right back, and he played up front. Killed me. Absolutely run the shit. I remember crying at half time, being like 12, 13 or something, crying at half time, saying, I can't stop him on my own. Good player. Even if you're a Wednesday fan, you can't deny that he's a legend. If Wednesday would have got a player like that from their city, I believe Billy Sharp's not. If he didn't had nothing to do with Sheffield United, he's still sat on cop. Week in, week out.
Do you hate Wednesday to the extent where you want them to go into liquidation?
No,
Or would you love a Premier League derby with them? Do you hope they go up? Because they're not doing badly.
I don't hope they go up. I don't mind if they go up. You know, I don't actually hate Wednesday. It's just some Wednesday fans who are idiots. That's what I don't hate all Wednesday fans. Just some of them are just absolute.
Do you think if you supported Wednesday like the boys did, that
I'd still be banned?
Yeah.
Oh God, that'd be sad, wouldn't it? Yeah.
For all the listeners who are curious about new music, Goldteeth. You've dropped around 8 tracks on Spotify off the name
Five.
5
tracks, just a 5-track EP. But I just put one song out before the EP as like a single, and I'm doing it all myself, funding it all myself. Like,
what are you inspired by? What kind of genre would you call it? Would you call it like an in between genre where it just varies tune to tune?
I would call it psychedelic R&B pop.
Because the bass and the guitar and the drums would verge on rock and roll, but the lyrics are very modern DJ pop in a sense that it appeals to both genders, definitely.
I wanted it to appeal. Definitely wanted it to appeal to both genders. Anyway, like I want men to like it.
You can dance to it, and it can mean something to you.
Yeah, lyrics and things. We were thinking like, I remember saying to Hannah, like when we're writing the lyrics, I don't want any negative lyrics, because sometimes you get the negative lyric and it just kind of like you just seem like.
So you wanted
bastard.
That kind of no Gallagher approach.
That's exactly
there's light
what
at the end of the tunnel.
I want that. That's exactly word for word what I said. Is I want it to be like Oasis, whereas it might be dark now, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always hope.
Yeah. And do you think that as society we're pumping too much of that kind of mental health awareness? We're here for you. Although it's positive, do you think we don't nearly give people the message of you can rely on yourself a bit?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think people. Everything I've been through, I've never had any help.
Stuff. Is it on a laptop?
No,
Are you
no.
playing?
I have done a few gigs. I did a gig supporting a friend of mine on his tour, and we just did 4 gigs, but it was just full band, all live, no backing track.
So there's an actual band there.
Yeah.
So what do
But
we
Hannah
got?
wasn't singing live. I had
Okay.
someone else singing, because Hannah's a southerner, and I don't want southerners near. she's a southerner. She's busy.
So what do we got? We got a drummer, a
So we've got
bassist.
drums, guitar, bass, keys, singing.
It's weird that you took so long.
And I played guitar at those gigs, but now
Leads.
I'm gonna.
Lead guitar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, mixture of lead
And
and
rhythm.
But I'm back where I should be now. on
Bass.
Yeah.
Can you drum as well?
No, but I can program. I think I could never decide on what I wanted me to sound like.
Yeah, I get you.
Because I've done a lot of production for other people, and I'm like, I work with a lot of grime artists. Well, not a lot, but I work with a couple of grime artists in Sheffield, and I'll make them music.
Yeah.
So they'll come to my studio and we'll make some music, and I'll record them, and then we'll put that out.
Yeah.
But for my own stuff, I was just very like, I'd make something, and I was like, is this what I want to show the world? This is me.
Yeah.
But the Goldteeth stuff is the first time I've ever really thought that is what I want to put out. That is me.
What kind of promotion are you going for? Have you done much of it?
I mean, I'm just like, I'm getting a radio plug-in, I'm getting a PR person involved, and I'm almost like a label myself.
Yeah. I think people don't realise about the Arctic Monkeys is they were literally 4 years of age when they started, so they're all younger than people who nowadays are still trying to make their way in the industry. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. There's people who are 30 who think they're only starting out and are doing things like the fucking X Factor. We've already had a #1 album, a fallout, a reconciliation, and a rediscovery of genre, as well as 50 tattoos.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You're a fascinating man.
Thanks for
And I
thanks
really
for coming all this
appreciate you.
way.
The Arctic Monkeys and the first album and everything you guys did, the origins, are something that have inspired so many people. To hear it from a human standpoint as opposed to the pop culture thing we're given, it's remarkable.
I think as well, the last thing about all the Arctic, the stuff I played and I was a part of, which was the 5 minutes with, the debut album, and the EP, the Who the Fuck,
Yeah.
or Arctic Monkeys
Yeah.
EP, which is my favourite body of Arctic
Bigger
Monkeys
Boys and all
work.
that kind of
Bigger
stuff.
Boys. The
I
song-
think Bigger
the
Boys
song
being
Who the
left off the album is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember the conversation that decided what tunes are going on the album? How did Bigger
Well,
Boys
Bigger
get
Boys
left
was
off?
it was a B-side, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not on the main 12
Yeah,
tracks,
no,
man.
I don't think it was good enough.
Bigger Boys is like the fucking fourth best tune they've ever had.
No. But with that first album, I remember people were saying, "No, just put these demos out as an album." We were just like, "It's a bit tight. Let's just go and re-record them all. Let's just go and re-record them." And we recorded that album in the track listing as well. So like day one, we did the first song, second. You know what I mean? That's like as many songs as there are on that album. That's how long it took to record.
Yeah.
So we just do it like that. But with those songs, like you're saying, how much those songs meant to you and how you would get in a fight just so you could relate to the lyrics.
Yeah, properly.
But what I feel now about that is, as soon as we put those songs out, they're not our songs anymore. Probably every song on the album means more to you and what you remember of it all than it will to me in a different way.
You know the way the boys lived in High Green and you briefly lived in Hillsborough, and there's the lyric in Red Light indicates doors secure.
Because they used to drop me off on way
yeah,
up.
surely that means a lot to you, that a taxi route
Well, they
home.
drop me off rather than jump out while it's moving.
A taxi route home, though, and what they used to say to a taxi man in order to get home and
That's
drop you off
exactly
first.
what we would say when you get in the
It was
taxi.
sang in Japan.
Yeah,
there was people in Japan singing "Your Taxi Drop Off Home." It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know. I never thought about that. But yeah, so we get a taxi from train station, come out of Leadmill, taxi at train station when you got off. Our Green via Hillsborough, please.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
They're the people's songs now. Them, they're for the people. They're not for the people in the band.
And the people continue to enjoy them.
Good.
And,
That's actually all I really care about. That's actually the bottom of everything. That's actually, if I think in my heart, that's all I really care about, is that we created something that people are still enjoying.
and that lives on forever.
Yeah.
That lives on for at least 50 or 60 years.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite band ever? It's an impossible question.
Good question. Favorite band ever?
Would you like the Libertines?
Yeah.
Were you
We
boys
met
as-
the Libertine. We went to watch the Strokes at Alexandra Palace before Arctic Monkeys had ever done a gig. We went to watch Strokes at Alexandra Palace. Me, Alan Elders. We got a bed sit on Golders Green. They let us have this room for cheap because there was no running water. There was 3 of us on the floor, and we met Pete and Carl that night and had a photo took with them on a disposable camera.
You, Al Helders, and
Yeah.
Pete Doherty.
Yeah, and Carl Barat.
I think Pete Doherty's one of the great songwriters in modern British culture. The gear obviously didn't serve him too
of
well.
course. He's got a great story.
Crazy
One of
story.
my favorite bands.
Who
Because you got
does?
those people that are like, "Oh, Beatles. No one's better than Beatles. No one's ever going to be better than Beatles." I just feel like I don't know who my Beatles are because I don't think it's the Beatles.
But modern stuff, like what are you looking at?
Listening to now, I listen to old types. I listen to a lot of older stuff. I mean, I listen to more Curtis Mayfield now probably than anything, like an old man. But I don't know. So there's some things that catch your ear. I've recently discovered this band called Parcels. I don't even know where they're from, but it's like a funky. It's not my favourite band ever, though.
Andy Nicholson, it's been an absolute privilege to have you on, my brother.
Should go for a Guinness.
We should. We'll have her again right now, straight away. Top man.
It's been how many years, my boy?
Audiobooks, they're a bit shorter than
You
audiobooks.
still don't know my tears of joy. No need to go, just take
Radio
it
cast,
slow.
podcast, something like
And have you heard the Michael Anthony show? Makes me feel just fine. What's it help to see? Makes me see the light. What about those tears? Tears believe my eyes. How's it make you feel? Makes me feel alright.